and to look after Mom. I remember him saying that specifically. Look after your mother for me, will you? I only figured out later what he meant. How hard would it have been for him to say he was leaving? That he wasn't coming back right away, but would be back later? He could have promised. He could even have lied. He could have said he had to go away for a few days, something to do with work, a conference, a field trip with his students, I don't know, and then not come back. He could have told me anything. He could have said goodbye. Maybe he was going to tell me, but then Mom came down and started giving him a list of things she wanted him to do that day, and the moment passed. She was always doing that, bursting into a room, rattling off instructions, as though picking up the dry cleaning was far more important than anything he might have been doing at that time, like saying he was leaving us. She always worked late and relied on him to do things, and was always putting him down for doing them wrong. Are you listening, Harry? Why aren't you writing this down? You know you'll forget. You've got a memory like a colander. Daphne, get your father a pencil. You're the big writer, Harry, so write this down. Laundry soap. Not the color fast kind you got last time, just regular laundry detergent. You got that? I was like, no phosphates, Dad. And Mom said, don't make it too complicated for him. And we need dental floss, the thin, flat kind, and margarine, not butter. Daphne doesn't need any more fat. Look at her. Am I ranting? Sorry, Sandra. I know you said not to rant. Ranting is reaction, and I'm not supposed to react. Take deep breaths. Anyway, it's hard to rant with pen and paper. If they traced the history of the written rant, they'd probably find it began with the invention of the typewriter. A rant sounds so satisfying on a typewriter. I'll have to ask Professor Curtis about that. Dad was doing his usual out-of-body thing, letting himself drift off to another plane of existence. Maybe in his head, he was already driving down Highway 401, the radio on to see what the traffic was like on the parkway. I saw him write something down, but it might have been the name of a hotel, or a book he wanted to read, or just a reminder, note to self, leave wife and kid. All I know for sure is that he didn't come home that night, or the next night, or ever. That was 10 years ago, the last time I saw him in our house. I know Dad will say it didn't happen like that, but that's how I remember it, and that's what you told me to write. And if I've been carrying this memory around with me since I was 10, if it's now part of who I am, how I self-identify, then it doesn't matter if it really happened that way or not, does it? I know a lot of memory is fiction, but Prof. Curtis used to say we learn as much from fiction as we do from history, maybe more. He also said it's hard to know the difference between what happened and what we want to have happened. Which is not true in my case, because nothing that happened is what I want to have happened. That's why I'm here, writing all this down, so I'm pretty sure I'm not making this shit up. It was a sharp break. 1 minute he was my dad, the next he was living in Toronto and talking to me on the phone like he'd suddenly remembered he had a daughter. I hated those phony phone calls. Neither of us had anything much to say. Yeah, it's cold here too. Yeah, school sucks. Yeah, ballet sucks. Yeah, I miss you too. Maybe he did write it all down. Laundry detergent, margarine, dental floss, just to have a reminder of why he was leaving. I picture him coming out of the college, ice-cold wind blowing up under his coat, him pulling the list out of his pocket, and then saying, fuck it. I'm out of here. And getting into his car and driving to Toronto. Mom kept glancing at the kitchen clock, then at her watch, then out the window at the empty driveway, looking more and more frightened, slamming things around, pushing her hair back behind her ears every 10 seconds. She must have known. Something must have told her, because she never said, "Where is he?" or "When your father gets home." And she didn't call his office or the hospitals. She called his cell a few times, her face grimmer.